Hello and welcome to Lord of Mag NUFC, the reaction show. And it's another shit show to talk about tonight. This is the reaction show to who's beating us this week? Oh, Brentford. Newcastle United versus Brentford. I know how you boys are, but out of being pleasant, how are you boys? Pete, we'll start with you.
Just shocked and fuming. I'm absolutely fuming at that. Absolutely fucking fuming. What a joke. Absolute joke. I said it to you boys before in the last show. This season is done. It's done. Get me to May. I'm done. I'm done with this season. Right. I'm sorry. One of the worst players on the pitch is now standing out there and doing an interview for Newcastle United in Kieran Trippier. Jesus Christ. Right. I'm sorry. He needs to be the last player doing those interviews. Right. Absolute joke. Awful performance. He's done. Right. And Eddie keeps persisting with him. It's his own bloody fault. But yeah, other than that, I'm great.
You're great.
How are you, Chris?
Yeah, similar, mate. Very, very similar. You know what? The lads were giving me loads of stick before, and I just said, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered. And the reason I'm not bothered is because I refuse to get wound up and angry and pissed off and whatever when, I'm not even seeing that on the pitch. Just absolutely devoid of any ideas, any inspiration, any drive, any motivation. And then some of that was, honestly, I was watching the game second half and I was messaging you boys, wasn't I? And there was times where I'm going, what formation are we playing? Where's everyone positioned? Why is he there? Why is he there? Why is he there? It's like everything's just gone kaput. Everything is just a complete mess. Everything. And yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible to see. It's horrible to watch. But I'm sure we'll get into it. On a personal level, yeah, I'm all right. I've had a pretty good weekend up until 5:30 today, and then it just kind of went a little bit downhill from there. But yeah, on a personal level, I'm fine. Daz, how are you, mate?
105 days till May 24th, Chris. That's how I am. I just want this season done. Apart from the Champions League, I'm interested to see what happens there. But everything else is done for me. We will be here again next week. We're talking about the FA Cup when we're knocked out of that as well, by the way. Right, let's get into the game. Bit of positivity. This is the team news. Bruno's back. That was good news. Byrne is on the bench. He didn't chance starting him. Gordon is out of the squad. Alanga's back on the bench. Murphy was shit, but he got his start. And Wisa starts up front against his old club. What thoughts on the selection, boys? This was the Brentford team as well, as we only know too well. But thoughts on the Newcastle team?
Does it really matter? Does it literally really does it even matter? Does it even matter? You're looking at that, you're thinking Bruno's back, great, like an improvement. And to be fair, he's the only one that kind of held us together. This could have been worse. This could have been 5 or 6 if it wasn't for Bruno.
Yeah. And
it just goes to show that first 30 minutes, it was like, wow, flipping out. Like, he don't off make us a better team, a semi-better team. But it doesn't matter anymore. It literally doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who's on the pitch. We're still getting the same old dross. But yeah, I was more interested in the Brentford team. Matt got some of his selection wrong. A few of those players didn't play. That he thought the centre-back pairings were different. The midfield was slightly different. He got the front three right. But yeah, I was more interested in their team than ours because, as we already watched, it clearly did not matter at all.
Chris, I know you were eagerly awaiting the team you was dropping, but
yeah, I think the biggest shock for me was Dan Burn wasn't included. And for anyone who hasn't watched Away Days, I say that in the sense that I expected him to be slotted into this team in some way, and he wasn't. And that's nothing against Dan Burn personally, by the way. Just an observation that Eddie Howe always likes to play Dan Burn. So I was thinking, is he going to go 5 at the back? Is he going to put him at left back? And he didn't. Yeah, but yeah, great to see Bruno. Obviously, Gordon missing out as we expected, and Johan Victor getting a start against his former club, and you're expecting big things, and unfortunately, we didn't get those big things. And I was surprised Jacob Murphy started right wing as well. I thought Anthony Langle was going to start, but maybe because it was at home, maybe that was the reason behind it. Should have had enough for that game. It was more than enough for that game, that lineup.
Right, let's walk through it. I'll stop at the goals. One man in, Trips pulls the shirt back of Lewis Potter. VAR says no to a penalty. Barnes shot and a Tonali free kick that went nowhere near. The only other activity in that opening 10 minutes. 14 minutes, Barnes unlucky as he flicks on a Murphy ball in, but it goes wide. 15 minutes, Murphy passes straight to Brentford. Pope makes a save from a team shot from Brentford. They should have gone 1-0 up there. Newcastle making silly mistakes and giving away the ball. 23 minutes then, here's the goal. Bruno with the second corner in succession after a good work initially by Willock, who won that first corner. So on the second corner, Botman gets on his 100th appearance for the club, comes off his head, back, whatever, and to make it 1-0, and Botman gets his goal. Thoughts on Botman's goal, Pete?
Yeah, good goal. Good goal. Good ball in from Bruno. Finally, we had someone that can deliver the ball into an area that the players are actually attacking. I'll come on to that a little bit later. But yeah, good ball, good header from Botman. And yeah, when the game was on a knife edge at that point, because Brentford had a lot of the ball, had a number of chances, most of the play was in there in our defensive half. I thought that was exactly what we needed. Going up there and getting the first goal gave us the emphasis in the game to maybe kick on. And I was kind of saying to a couple of lads when the goal went in, it was like, right, let's go for the throat now. Let's go for the second. Let's try and get back into it. We did the fucking same thing that we do every time. We just sit back and just let teams attack us. There's no emphasis to go and get the second goal. Like, why, dude? Honestly, it baffles me about the performances of some of these players sometimes. It is a joke. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Great goal. Botman deserved it. 100th appearance. Fair play to him. I don't think he had a bad game either, to be fair. I thought he was okay. But he was, it's a shame that on his 100th appearance and he scores a good goal, that it's tainted by the rest of the absolute garbage that we had to sit through for the rest of that game. So yeah, it was a shame. Good goal from Botman.
Chris, thoughts on Botman's goal?
Yeah, very good. Agree with Pete. I think he actually had his back to goal, so it was a really weird header he had to try and do, but he rose well for it, and got his goal, and I was pleased for him because it was his 100th appearance. And they do that little stitching now in the middle of the shirt, don't they? So he had his 100 on his shirt, and yeah, I was made up for him. Obviously, new contract, 100th appearance, and a very good goal. Yeah.
Cool. Let's kick on. 28 minutes, Wisa reacts to try and poke the ball in after a great run by Hall. Off the line, unlucky for Wisa on that occasion. 35 minutes, Ayer allowed to waltz right through the Newcastle midfield. He's eventually cut out, or it was cut out by Hall. 36 minutes. Brentford make it. Yep. Really
sorry. Can I just interrupt on that point?
Of course.
That run from Ayer, where he literally ran from his own half into our half.
It's ridiculous.
I have to say, it was an absolute disgrace in Sandro Tonali's recovery run for that. It was an absolute disgrace. The way that Ayer, who is not the fastest, by the way, glides past Tonali, and Tonali's at jogging pace, not even trying to get with him. He's the closest man to him, and he should be recovering with him. Honestly, it was an absolute fucking joke from Sandro Tonali today. I'm sorry. It was an absolute joke of a performance. That man is saying to us through his agent that he wants to go to a team playing Champions League football. He's better off playing in the Championship, putting in performances like that. I'm sorry. It was an absolute joke. That guy, 55 million, was unstoppable last season. The drop-off of Sandro Tonali is a disgrace. I'm sorry. I don't care whether he wants a new contract, whether he wants to move. I'm sorry, right? That is unacceptable. And he should have been dragged far earlier than he actually was. I don't know what's going on in his head right now, but it is not good. It is not good because he is not playing well at all. I just wanted to make that point because I remember watching that. How the hell is Sandro Tonali allowing him to make that run unopposed? And there was at least 10 yards between them. And he saw him running. He didn't even make a beeline over to try and stop him. It was a joke. Sorry, Daz.
No, you're right. You're right. Now, I thought the same. That's why I thought it was something to make note of because it was just ridiculous. Right, 36 minutes in. Brentford make it 1-1. Janelt meets the cross of Ouattara, Django. Newcastle are undone. Any comments on Brentford's goal? First goal.
Go on, Pete.
Hold on. I was trying to listen to Eddie Howe doing his talk at the same time.
Fuck him, Pete.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like, what else do I need to see? What else do I need to hear? Yeah, what is he going to tell me? We could go off topic here. One of the things that he's mentioned, just in that few seconds that I watched, is that bar the 3 goals, I thought we defended well. Well, defend well for the 3 goals then. And then maybe we'll win a game. Like, it's just ridiculous. The protection of these players is ridiculous. These guys were not good. They were not good today. Our players were not good today. We did not play well. Sometimes it needs to be said. Sometimes it needs to be, this isn't good enough. This isn't good enough for Newcastle United. Sometimes it has to be said. It's just, yeah, you're right. I've turned it off now.
Rinse and repeat. That's all we get. Like you can understand that, but at this stage, he's ran out of road with those excuses.
It's ridiculous. That's honestly, it drives me mad. Anyway, the goal. I'm sorry, right? Leo Shahar, young right back. If he's playing in that game, that cross doesn't go in. Why Kieran Trippier is giving him the whole of Newcastle to go to Ouattara, go put the ball in. Just stands off him. Doesn't attack him. Doesn't stop the cross. That's rule number 1 for a fullback, is do not let your winger get the ball in. Do everything you can to make that ball go out for a corner, throw in, get something on it, get your body in the way in one way, shape or another. He literally he barely even puts a foot out to try and stop the cross. He just allows him to cross the ball. And to be fair, it ends up being a great ball. It's a great ball from Ouattara into the box. And I think it was it Janelt that scores the goal?
Yeah.
Rises high. I don't think the players, even Janelt, expected the ball in to be that good. And it's a great header from him. Botman's a little bit short. I think he's caught off guard by the ball coming into the box as easily as it was. And that's not taking anything away from Botman. He could have and should have put more pressure on Janelt to not get the header on. And it's a good header into the corner. It goes right into the side net, and I don't even think Pope's at fault for that. But Kieran Trippier, man, honestly, what is going on here? What is going on? Because it's very clear that everything is being targeted down that side. It's interesting that Ouattara was actually playing on Brentford's right, our left, and getting no joy whatsoever. And as soon as he switches over, bang, that cross comes in, the goal happens. And isn't that interesting? They see Trippier as a target, and so they target him. Oh, what does that remind me of? 2 years ago, when Burn was playing left back, and every team that was coming up against us goes, target Burn, target Burn. And Brentford came here and did exactly that and got joy, and I think we ended up drawing with them 2-2, it might have been, during that season. And other teams came to St. James's Park and targeted Burn at left back and tore us apart. Why can we not see this? It's obvious what teams are doing. So take the vulnerability out the way and not make it an issue. Good cross, good header, good goal. But from our point of view, it's absolutely rubbish. It's rubbish from Newcastle United.
It's gone that bad, lad. I'm trying to find out when Emil Kraft is back. It's that bad because he won't play the youth. So apart from Wiley and Hall in that youth category, he won't play them. But Chris, thoughts on Brentford's first?
Just terrible defending. Terrible defending. I don't blame the centre-backs too much because the ball should never have come in. Pete's absolutely spot on what he says. The ball should never come in. Kevin Trippier stands off. And I see a lot of people defending Kevin Trippier in the chat, and this isn't a personal attack on Kevin Trippier. Kevin Trippier was the first player through the door, when we got our takeover, and Kevin Trippier has been a fantastic servant to Newcastle United. But at the moment, he's not at the required level. He's just not. Some people will blame Eddie Howe because he's selecting him, but then you can argue, do you then even push it further up and say, well, it's down to the ownership, it's down to the CEO, it's down to the director, it's down to the owners, because clearly we haven't got enough options. We don't have the options. So Kevin Trippier, that's why on away days I had Kevin Trippier playing right back, because there's no other options. And Kevin Trippier, unfortunately, is at the latter stages of his career. And he obviously can't perform to the level that he once previously could, because he's Dango Ouattara has put a fantastic ball in. I'm not taking that away from him. It's a great cross. It's a great cross. Really, really great cross. Because all that Janelt has to do is just redirect. It's got the pace, it's got the power, it's got the direction. All he's got to do is redirect it into the corner. Nick Pope doesn't really stand a chance with it. You could argue maybe. I think you said Botman, didn't you, Pete? The centre-backs could have maybe challenged him, but I don't think they were expecting such a good ball. But again, the ball shouldn't have come in. It just shouldn't have come in. But Kevin Trippier is a good 2 yards away from him, allows him to take a touch, whip it in, and you're running the risk. As soon as that ball comes in the box, you're running the risk, and that's what happens. So it was a good goal from Brentford's point of view, but a really, really poor one from our point of view.
Let's fast forward for 6 minutes later. Tonali loses the ball with a bad pass across the Brentford box. Brentford take the ball up. Trips gets turned. Jensen makes it with Jensen. Jensen shoots. The ball hits Murphy's arm. The ref points to the spot. VAR check. Was the arm moving towards his body to try and get out of the way? Peno is stands in any case. Thiago steps up to take it. 1-2. Thoughts on that one, boys?
Yeah, I'll be honest, lads. I can't decide whether it was a really harsh penalty given against us, or whether Murphy's just being stupid with his hand. I can't quite.
I'd say Murphy's being stupid anyway.
Yeah. I mean, he was stupid for the rest of the game and should never have started in the first place. But yeah. I can't really decide on that, but the penno, look, it's a good penno. It's a good penno. He even like delays his attempt to kick it to make Pope go one way or another. Like it was a good finish. No issue with the actual penalty itself being taken, but yeah, I just can't decide whether it's just absolute stupidity from Murphy or actually, it was really harsh on us. I'm still kind of in limbo with that to decide on what it was, but it's just come at the worst possible time. It's literally the 45 is just come on the screen just at half time, and it's just like, come on, lads, please see it through till half time at least without creating stupid moments in the game. And again, we just keep getting caught on the counter time and time again. This midfield is an absolute joke.
Yeah,
this midfield, I'll go on further, lads. Like, in fact, I'm never going to do it now. Honestly, I can't tell you how mad I am right now. Doing these lives straight after games is not good for me because I'm just absolutely fuming. I've got so much I want to say about the performance, about the team, about the manager, about the whole club situation, and Chris,
you're not alone, Pete.
No.
I think the chat is full of people. Unless you're a Brentford fan, and in fairness, congratulations to Brentford fan tonight, historical win. But I'll go just before we go to you, Chris. Look, On that occasion for Murphy, though, I don't think there's much he can do. If the goal is open, he's going to try and do something. Chris, let's get your thoughts on the penalty.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things really, but I reckon we try and whiz through because we've got so much we want to talk about after this, I'm sure, and Pete's already alluded
Super
to it.
chat as well, Chris.
Yeah, super chat. We've got loads.
We'll have a half-time.
We will come to all of them.
We will.
Yeah.
But yeah, quickly from me. Yeah. So first of all, we shouldn't be in that position because the defending in the lead up to it is absolutely dreadful. Like the ball goes over, and I think it's to Ouattara, who's caused an absolute chaos, by the way, down that left-hand side. And Kieran Trippier slides in. Ouattara just stands still. So then Ouattara has got the ball in the box, has time to look up, pick out a man who, by the way, nobody is on. So again, he just receives the ball. I think it's 8 yards out, maybe something like that. Takes his time, tries to aim for the corner. And do you know what? Me and the lads were having a discussion about this, and it's funny. Me red mates would all say it was a pen, and me blue mate, who normally is way against Newcastle, he was like, "It's not a pen, that." And when I keep watching it back, his arm is out, but not like that, if you can see. But his arm is out, and then his arm comes in, and then it hits his arm. And the argument, that we were all talking about was like, well, where is he supposed to put his arm? Where is his arm supposed to go? And the players hit it, and it's hit his arm. So for me, I don't think it was a penalty. I think it was harsh. I see why they've give it. I get it. Because obviously his arm being there has stopped it going towards the goal, and it was previously slightly higher than what it was, but you can see him moving it back. But I would have thought that was the prime reason for VAR, because when you watch it back, you can see his arm is slightly in. You could argue maybe in an unnatural position, but then he moves it to a natural position and it hits his arm. So it's like, well, if his arm's right by his body, where else could his arm be? Where else could it go? So to me, it almost felt like if the ref gave it, I'd have gone, okay, he's seen it split second. I would expect VAR to be asking those questions amongst themselves and going, well, where's he meant to put it? Where's he meant to put his arm? His arm's down. Where else can he put his arm other than behind his back? Which managers often say, you shouldn't put your arms behind your back because then you become unbalanced. So I don't know. But equally, not taking anything away from Brentford, on the scale of things, they deserve to go 2-1 up, and really we shouldn't have put ourselves in that position anyway, because we should have defended it far better, and we didn't, because the lad, as I say, he had time to, Ouattara, plenty of time to play the pass. The lad in the middle of the box, nobody was anywhere near him. He then had time to set himself and then hit it. It's a pathetic goal, really. It's just a pathetic scenario we put ourselves in.
Maybe Murphy should have gone down on the full Stephen Taylor dive shot to the ground thing. But then the ironic thing is as well, Ouattara Django. Remember Django Unchained? He was one of the link pieces on us getting Wisa.
Yeah, he was.
Right.
Why did we
we should have got him. Yeah.
Thank you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh,
it's ridiculous. Yeah. Look at that connects to halftime, because after going 1-0 up, we're going in at halftime 1-2 down at home, and that's kind of the definition of our season. Boos at halftime as well, boys. Maybe we should go to some super chats, boys, and get some questions done.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got loads. So I'm gonna fly through these as quickly as I can, boys. And I don't mean all the super chats. I'm referring to it. People becoming members and stuff, which is absolutely fantastic. And thank you everybody for doing so. Alan Little, thank you very much. Alan has become a Loaded Ultra, so big thank you there to Alan. Also, big shout out to Chippers, who's been a member for 47 months. Thank you, Chippers. Chippers says, rinse and repeat, bye Eddie, awful. And I have a feeling a lot of these super chats are going to be following quite a similar trend, but I could be wrong. But thank you, Chippers. More so, Shane Mawson, top man. Hope you're enjoying it in Australia. I'm sure you're enjoying being in Australia, but maybe not the game. And Shane says we are shite. Which
he's right.
He's right.
We are.
Absolutely right, Shane. Sophie, who's been a member for 10 months, our resident spanner. Sophie says, off your pop, Eddie. Thanks for everything. Any other new members or current members? David R, Eddie H, what am I about? Eddie Howe. Time to get back to basics. 5 at the back. That's interesting. If that's
at home,
Eddie. He's put it in inverted commas, so maybe that is
We've
it.
already got 3 centre backs, so if one of those goes down, that tactic's gone completely. Like this is part of the problem, and it goes back to why didn't you make a sign in January to be able to supplement that tactic? Oh wait, we didn't.
No, and then we let Jamal
wait till 2030, Pete, and we're on top of everything.
I've got something to say on that nonsense, right? Right, carry on.
Yeah,
carry on.
So Jamal Lascelles, when Jamal Lascelles leaves, not in the right headspace, not fit, etc., and then starts for Leicester today. That was an interesting one.
There's something not right about that. Something's happened behind the scenes. There was he was fit. He was mentally ready to play. There's something that's happened, right? Because you don't leave when you can't even train with your team, right? You can't even train with your team because you're not mentally able to, or not physically and mentally able to play. But yet, all of a sudden, he goes to Leicester within a few days. He's in the starting line. They were shit, man, and I think they lost. But besides the point, there's something that's happened in there behind the scenes. It's going on, and it might be very much of a signal as to what we're seeing this season.
Oh, Pete. A million percent. It's part of the bigger picture, isn't it? You mentioned about Sandro Tonali, part of the bigger picture. There's more to this than what meets the eye. 100% there's more to this. Anybody else? Right, let's hit these super chats. Okay, so Genie Estebanaldum, thank you so much, mate, for your super chat. Genie Esther says, thanks for the memories, legends, but time to go, Eddie. We've got Bob Tantum. Bob says he deserves the season and a proper window, even if it means taking a points deduction. Then fucking do it. PIF need to prove their backing. Okay, well that's an interesting one, Bob. What I'm going to do, I'm going to whiz through these. We'll whiz through the second half, and then we'll come back to some of these points because that is a good point. And like I say, I think we're going to have quite a few which are on the same genre as what Rob is saying. But thank you, Rob. I don't even know how to say that name. 3A3023.
Babbo.
This is Babbo.
Babbo.
Yes.
Oh, of course it is. I can see the thing.
Legend.
Babbo.
I was speaking to him today, and I just need to say before you read this out, Chris, in one of the chats that I'm in, he made a point of properly bigging us up. I don't even know if I'll be able to find the comment. I'll try and dig it out. I'm just going to try and scroll.
While I'm whizzing through these pieces, try and figure out.
Lovely message from Babbo, though.
I've got it here. It says, and he's put in this chat today. He's put, I've been religiously watching like us on Loaded Mag, and I found some solace with the show and the idea that we should accept that this season is just a write-off, that we regroup in the summer. But it's just he's just being really positive about the challenge in saying that, you know, there's a balance here in terms of what we discuss on the challenge. Is obviously we go way back with Babbo, way back to the COVID days. So big up to you, Babbo, and thank you for the super chat. Sorry, Chris. Go on.
No, thank you, mate. And yeah, great to see Babbo. And Babbo says, thank you guys for all the work you do to give us a bit of sanity on a weekly basis. Get yourselves a pint. Mate, that's so nice that. Thank you, Babbo. Really, really kind of you, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, Babbo.
Right. Where are we? Genie Esther again. Thank you, Genie Esther. 4 away games coming up next. Spurs, Villa, Karabag, and City. Oh, my God. We might get to that later, Genie Esther, but that is not looking good. Where are we? Checkmeister, thank you so much, mate. I can't see the next win, guys. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there, Checkmeister. Need fresh ideas, get an interim in or something. Look at Man United. We're as close to relegation now as Champions League. Play Shahar at right back. Interesting point, and Pete mentioned that earlier. Interesting point. Yeah. Thank you, Checkmeister. Very good super chat, that, mate. Very good. Benny Boy, thank you so much.
Cheers, Benny Boy.
Benny Boy says, needed 3 points today to have any hope of achieving anything good this season. Totally agree. Trippier is done, and I also feel our season is too. Yeah. Benny boy. Benny boy.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Benny boy says, get Mourinho in to kick some arses because he wouldn't stand for this. We are miles off it. Listen, you boys know my thoughts on Mourinho anyway. I absolutely adore Mourinho. But I get the sentiment where Benny boy's coming from, you know, in terms of someone to come in and really shake things up, because I'm starting to lean towards that, boys. But again, we will come to this. But thank you, Benny boy. Top man. Benny boy again. Benny boy. Do you think the lads were fatigued due to Howe's mismanagement by not resting players versus Man City and not playing the kids at home in that game? Let me come back to that one, Benny boy, because I think that's probably part of a wider one, that one. But thank you again for the super chat. Right, we're all on super chats. Daz, let's go second half, mate.
Let's go second half, and no, but those are very important questions to come back to, because they're key talking points as well. So we will definitely come back to that. Subs on us all at halftime. Murphy is off. Murphy hit a shocker for me, and I'm sure you boys too. Alanga comes on. Willock is off. Nick Vitaly is on. Willock, I thought, was doing okay, but he needed to sacrifice we needed a goal or two. So Eddie plays his hand and changes are made. How will this play out? Newcastle trying to be more aggressive and avoid a historical and embarrassing defeat. That didn't work out. 50 minutes, penalty claim, handball off Rico Henry. VAR said no. 53 minutes, Barnes unlucky with a header after a good Newcastle move. The pace then kind of for the next 10 minutes, so it kind of goes out of the game in around the 68th minute. Then it comes another sub. Wisa is off and Asula comes on. This is, I said in our chat, Chris, get Asula on because Wisa is out of juice. 66 minutes. Malik Chow shot from distance. A great save from Keller. It was a good shot from Malik Chow. 73 minutes. An Asula run. He squares it to Alanga. Pass was potentially on for Bruno, but it was half on at least. But Bruno was taken out. VAR sends the ref to the screen. Was it a trip or a tangle of legs? Big question is, who was the girl beside the VAR monitor? Penalty is awarded, and then Bruno steps up to take it. 2-2 Newcastle. Thoughts on that goal for Newcastle, boys?
Well, before we talk about the penalty, because it was a good penalty. That's all I'll really say on that. But what we'll talk about is the build up to the goal. Lightning quick counter attack, good ball into the box, lovely running in from Bruno. It was a clear foul. How the ref's not seen that, I've got no idea, because Bruno gets a clear shot at goal on the back of that. But honestly, a lad that hasn't kicked the ball for 3 months comes on and absolutely shows up Johan Wisa in Will Asula. I was really impressed with him tonight. I thought he was brilliant off the bench. He is exactly what Newcastle United need, and he played a big part in everything that we did good in the second half, and it's lovely play. And yeah, there were signs of life at that point in that period of play in the build up to the goal, and I just couldn't help but think, that build up to the goal and obviously winning the penalty, that reminded me of last season. That reminded me of the Newcastle United that I know, just in those little moments, that counter-attacking, free flowing, quick on the attack, running with intensity and speed. And Brentford couldn't handle it. They could not handle it. They couldn't handle the counter-attack. They couldn't handle the quick motions, the transitions from one to the other. And yeah, Bruno takes it. And, I know that Nick Vitaly wanted it. He had the ball in his hand at one point. And I think it was maybe prized away from him by Bruno Guimarães. But I'll be honest with you. And look, they both missed, I think, penalties against Bournemouth, Vitaly and Bruno. But the way this season's going, there's only one man I want stepping up to take that penalty, and it's our captain, because he has proven time and time again that he is the difference maker in our team. And in those big crucial moments, you want him stepping up for Newcastle United, because for me, Bruno Guimarães is the one constant from last season to this season, Bruno Guimarães is the one constant. He continues to play well in every season that he's played for Newcastle United. He is the constant. Bruno Guimarães is our captain. He's the leader and he leads by example. He is the only one. And I'm glad he took that penalty and gave us a glimmer of hope for a short period.
Chris, before we go to you, Eddie Howe comments just coming in. Eddie Howe says, there's a harsh reality for me. I need to think long and hard about me. I need to work better and do more, work out solutions. I need to take full responsibility for what you see on the pitch. I always feel under pressure, so it's irrelevant to me. The pressure I put myself couldn't be more extreme. I'm obviously not doing my job well enough. It's a difficult moment for us. There's no denying it. Today, we have to take full accountability.
And that's the first time that Eddie Howe has actually talked some truth. He's actually talked some truth for the first time. In those comments, and I imagine you're reading that from Keith Downey, because that's where I'll just follow it the same. That's the first time he's talked with a little bit of truth and talked about this situation, because this is not good. It's not good. So, yeah. Finally, we're getting some honesty from the manager, because from what I'm reading there and from what you just read off, Daz, that's not what I heard on Sky. So let's hope that there's some reaction to that. But carry on, fellas. Carry on.
Chris, thoughts on Bruno's penalty? I think that's where we were.
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous because I saw Nick Voltemade grab the ball, and I thought, I'd like to see Nick Voltemade, get a goal. It'll do the world of good for his confidence. And then I saw Bruno. Then obviously the camera panned back, and Bruno had the ball. And I think I've made this very clear, haven't I? In the past, that like for me, I don't feel like Bruno strikes the ball very cleanly. So that always worries me. I don't know why. It's only 12 yards out. But I think you're right, Pete, when you say that for the big occasion, you need the big personality, you need your captain. And Bruno went and did what Bruno does. Grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck, took on the big responsibility of putting the ball in the back of the net, which he did. It was a penalty for me. I could see it not being given, because they were looking, and you can see it's a clash of legs. But obviously he stops Bruno in his tracks. So, it is a penalty. Although I must admit, boys, it was also a relief to see Bruno taking the penalty, because I did actually think when Bruno went down that Bruno was in real trouble, because, he had his arm up, he's waving it, he's screaming, and I'm thinking, oh my God. So I actually thought Bruno might be injured. Thankfully he wasn't. Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was like, let's stop the game. So that we can definitely. Because I was panicking, I'll be honest, I was. But yeah, penalty. Bruno dispatched it really well, and we all had a little bit of hope at that point. I'm sure. Can we go on and win this? I think that's what we were all thinking.
Yeah, it was. That was it. But and if the game had stopped there, you still would have had this reaction from us tonight, because we weren't happy with what we're seeing. But it doesn't end there. But just another quick update, because Eddie Howe was asked another question. If he feels that he's losing the Newcastle crowd, he says, "No, I don't think so. I think if we perform, the crowd will back us, and they'll be with us every step of the way. And I've got no issue with their reaction today." I think he's referring to the booing. They're reacting to what we deliver. What they deliver is not good enough, as we're pointing out. Right, let's kick on again, because this game is not over, unfortunately. 80 minutes, Big Nick tries to bust his way through. He gets cut out. 85 minutes, Ouattara Django makes it 2-3. Not even Trips shouting at him as he was about to shoot it could stop him. Thoughts on Brentford's third?
Oh, fuck's sake. Watching that back was just a nightmare. Watching that play. So I'm looking at I think there's an aerial challenge that I think Botman wins. It falls to a Brentford player. And at that point, and to be fair, Sky nailed it in their reflection. I think it was Les Ferdinand that was talking through it. When they stop it, both Chow and Botman are in perfect central defensive positions. They are aligned perfectly. But the nightmare of it all is that Lewis Hall is about 3 yards deeper than the centre-backs, and Kieran Trippier is about 10 yards further forward. And where Ouattara wins the ball or receives the ball, that's where Trippier should be. And they're not in line. And the defensive shape is just all over the place. And that allows them to get in, because if Hall's up in line, there's a chance he's offside. And there's a high chance that he's offside. And that goal never happens. But if Kieran Trippier is in line and does his job properly, he never gets the chance to get a shot off. And it's just a calamity of errors from Newcastle United. And we're the ones that should be looking to win the game. We're the ones that should be having the emphasis in the game and looking to go, right, we want to win. And we're just gifting opportunities away. We've got to keep our heads. We can't. When we get into a good position or a positive situation, we just lose our heads. And I don't get why it happens. Something's not right with this team, because they just can't keep a solid position, whether it's a level pegging and we're going for a win, or we're winning and we try and go for the second. It's all over the place. Anyway, the ball gets played through. Ouattara just slams the ball home. He just slams it straight at Pope, and Pope's just got to put his body there and hope that it stays in, and it kind of ricochets, I think, through his legs. Unlucky from Pope. There's not much he can do, because he absolutely smashes it towards him. It's just a hopeful shot. He just smashes it as hard as he can in front of goal. And this is what we lack in the team. It's not about putting it in the top corners or putting it here, there. Sometimes it's just about getting the ball and just smashing it as hard as you can at goal, and hoping on a wet surface, on a rainy day, it goes your way. And for Ouattara, it went his way. And they got the lead off the back of it, and ultimately the win. But the defensive errors in that moment from our fullbacks either way were just an absolute joke. And it's no surprise that as soon as that ball hit the net, one of the first things that happens is that Kieran Trippier gets dragged. There's no surprise that happened, and it should have happened far sooner than that, in my opinion.
Chris, your thoughts on Brentford's winner?
Yeah. The irony of Kieran Trippier getting dragged when we went 3-2 down. It's like, the game's done at that point, isn't it? And then obviously, we saw Dan Burn come on at left back, and it was just like, right, okay. Yeah, in terms of the goal, yeah, very, very disappointing. To be honest, Pete, I didn't factor in Lewis Hall in that goal, because all I was looking at, you're absolutely spot on when you say the centre backs were exactly where they needed to be. Botman had won the aerial challenge, but it's just a simple layoff. I think it was from Thiago. Thiago laid it back to one of the Brentford midfielders. I forget which one it was, and then all he does is loop the ball into Dango Ouattara, who's free to take a touch, position himself. And then obviously just, puts the ball in the back of the net. But again, you're looking and thinking, well, the left winger there has got nobody on him. Who should be there? And then you see Kieran Trippier jogging back to, maybe I'm doing him a disservice there, but trying to get back in.
He's probably sprinting, but it looks like a jog.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. I think he's knackered at that point. But again, this is an experienced head. This is somebody who, has got numerous international caps, captain, leader. You would think at that point in the game, he might be thinking, do you know what? I'm just going to sit in here. I'm just going to make sure that, I kind of make sure everything's covered. Because that lad's just running behind me. And what if Brentford get the ball? And what if they spray it over to the other side? Which is exactly what happens. Just a really disappointing goal. Really, really disappointing goal to concede. And I have to mention this actually while I get a minute, because it did make me laugh. I don't want to put too much blame on him, but it was a funny comment. Where is it? Yeah, that was it. Ed's mank therapy. Pope has his legs open more than Bonnie Blue.
Is that
Who's Bonnie Blue?
Though.
You don't want to know.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Move on.
Rid of the time. Wait, I don't think his legs were open that wide though.
No,
not Bonnie Blue wide anyway. But it wasn't that.
Definitely not Bonnie Blue wide. No, that's a great point. Definitely not Bonnie Blue wide.
It wasn't that wide that it was straight through his legs. I think it actually kind of ricocheted off his legs
and went in. Yeah.
So I don't think it was as obvious as that. But yeah,
it's still. I don't know. I don't know, Pete. I feel like I constantly try and direct everything to Nick Pope, but I did watch that particular, like, first goal, no problem. Second goal, no problem. Third goal, I was just a bit like, I suppose the way I try and assess it is, would I expect most Premier League goalkeepers to save that shot? Because I don't think it was a great shot. I don't know. The shot should never have gone off. The shot should never have gone off.
It was a powerful effort. Like, he's got a hell of a striker in that Ouattara. He can strike a ball with his left foot. And I just think, like, a slippery surface, it was chucking it down.
Yeah, it was chucking down.
Like, the ricochets coming off the body. If it was a dry, warm evening, it probably bounces off him and goes in our favour. But on a wetter surface with the ball slippery, it's ricocheted and snuck in. I find it difficult to put it on Pope for that, especially with what happened beforehand, with Lewis Hall keeping him onside and Trippier not being in line. For me, I see why you're thinking it, Chris. I can see why. For me, I think what goes on before has more importance in the goal than what actually happened, because it's probably more of a toss of a coin with the Pope situation than it was with the defensive errors from the fullback.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah.
Just about to Google Bonnie Blue, Chris. I'll do that in a second.
Fucking good luck with that.
Right.
Hey, don't do it.
Make sure your wife's not in the room when you do
it. Don't do it.
I won't.
Jesus, sleep in the car. You'll be sleeping in the car tonight.
No idea who this person is. Right, subs. 86 minutes, as we mentioned. Trips is off. Byrne is on. Tonali's off. Ramsey is on.
We blew on a Saturday night. We've just been absolutely shy.
91 minutes. Alanga and Hall, quick free kick. Chow hits it wide when he's under pressure. Anyway, to round it all off, full time. Boos again at halftime. Another loss for Newcastle United in this season.
We had 9 minutes of extra time and not one shot on goal.
And all the time delays, they didn't even give that extra bit either, but it wouldn't have mattered, I don't think.
They had more attempts towards goal and more touches in our area in that 9 minutes than we did in theirs. That's the sad fact of this performance today. Is that once they went 3-2, we were never ever getting back in that game. The game was done.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Newcastle fans knew it. And a lot of Newcastle fans in the stadium spoke with their feet. Because once they scored that third and it hit that 92, 93 minutes, you could see they'd had enough. And it's important, just going on to what Eddie Howe said, it's important that fans let the players and the manager know when things are great, and they support the guys, and they're there and they're behind them and they cheer. The amount of times I've been at away games over the years and home games even, and regardless of we get behind the team and we support the team when we know that they're giving their all. But it's also important that when they're putting out absolute dross performances, that our fans also let them know too. It has to work both ways. And it sounds like I feel like I was about to say I'm glad that they did that today, but it's important that the manager knows that and that the players know that. And I think that may be very well a reaction to that, because you mentioned it, Daz. I think you mentioned it before, Chris, as well. It's like there's only so much you can continue to say to try and protect your players.
Yeah.
Until it gets to the point where you can't protect them anymore. And you've got to give out some home truths. I really do hope some home truths were given to those players. I really do hope that certain players were dug out for that when they're talking about searching for Champions League football, and Champions League football is going to sway them in whether they stay at Newcastle United. Well, not after those dross performances, they're not. They need to be told too. So I really hope that this is some home truths that have been given out to some of these players today, because what we witnessed, and I say we, the wider we, because we've got nearly 1,000 people watching this show right now. And I hope that for our sakes as a fan base, that Eddie Howe's had those home truths with those players and his staff today, because that, in a must-win game, lads, in a must-win game, 4 games now away from home, and we're absolutely dross away from, we're worse away from home than we are at St. James's Park. That was a must-win, and he failed, and the players failed. It was an absolute failure of a performance today.
We've tackled some of those comments and questions, Chris, and then the super chats that we put on the screen earlier as well.
Yeah. Let's get into the comments, boys, because I think we're all feeling the same, and I think a lot of the viewers are as well. But on the mention of the viewers, Pete, you mentioned we've got nearly 1,000 people watching at the moment. So first of all, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you're watching on X, please do consider coming over to YouTube. Get involved in the chat. The chat is absolutely fantastic on Loaded Mag NUFC. It's great to have you all tuning in, whether it's on X or YouTube. But also, if you come over to YouTube and you haven't been over before, please consider subscribing. Hit that subscribe button. We are on multiple times during the week. We do pre-match videos. We do post-match videos like this one. And we also do little bits in between as well. So yeah, it would be great if you could all hit that like button. Yes, thank you, Daz, for popping that up on screen there. So you can see here, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, we're on Amazon Music. You can find us on all the socials on X, be it TikTok, Instagram, and of course, if there's any business inquiries or anybody is interested in contacting us, it's loadedmagnufcinfo@gmail.com. But first and foremost, thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks for sticking with us. We appreciate it. It's not an easy time at the moment, but it's great to have so many people in the chat and talking to us and, going through this with us, because it is difficult. It's really, really difficult being a Newcastle fan at the moment. But let's get into these comments. I'm going to read out a few, boys, and then we'll stop as we go along because there is absolutely loads. Pete, you related us to this earlier today. James Warbridge, Rayan, by the way, how did the whole fan base see this coming? Rayan scored his
not for the first time, and not the first player. Sorry,
Yeah.
Chris, I was going to not for the first time, and not the first player. We've talked about, and everyone is falling over the place talking about, and we don't get involved. And this time we know we had cash that we could have got involved.
Yeah. You're telling me that Rayan couldn't have done any better than Jacob Murphy for that 45 minutes? The club's having a laugh if they did not consider Rayan. 35 million. He's now got a £100 million release clause. Ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It was almost like he stalled the deal because he thought Newcastle were coming in. That's what was being reported in Brazil. That because he thought Newcastle were coming in, that's why he stalled for nearly 4 days and then eventually signed for Bournemouth. Honestly, the guy's going to be quality. Goal and assist already in 2 games. Like, just the pace and power that he runs at. He's 19. He looks 25 physically dominating. Runs perfect for Eddie. Left-footed. Plays in inverted on the right-hand side. Oh, my God. Madness. Absolute madness. Yeah. He fits the profile. It's ridiculous. I don't get it. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, mate. Really frustrating that we didn't go in for someone like Rayan, and particularly because we've obviously scouted him. We were looking at him. He's been on our radar for about 2 years, I think. Because we were talking about him a long time ago, weren't we? When we were first linked with him. So yeah, very, very frustrating. Dan Man says, first time I've said this, but I think it's time for Eddie to move on. Love the bloke, but this isn't good enough. And yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, Dan Man, to disagree with what you're saying there. Andrew Ford says Wisser at 55 million is a fucking joke. He's up there with Anthony as one of the worst signings in the Premier League history. Brentford chanting "what a waste of money" was the truest thing I've ever heard. What were your thoughts on Johan Visser's performance today, boys?
Oh, that's
not good. Not good. I think. The Matt, who was on with us for the big match preview, him laughing at us for spending 55 million for him said it all. He thought it was 30. Or else he's a very good actor. But yeah, it is a joke. I didn't hide it at the time, boys. I didn't think it was. I know we needed a striker. We needed to do something after everything that went down that summer. But yeah, it's not good. I don't have any faith in our strikers at all these days, especially with the way we're trying to play them. I know you could get more out of Nick Botman. He doesn't like to head the ball. He wants to play as a kind of a more midfielder / number 10, but he definitely doesn't want to play as a striker, as we know what a striker should be. So, and I know we're talking about Wisa there. Wisa looks shot as well. I don't know. We haven't got the same player that Brentford had. That's for sure. And definitely was never worth that money.
Matt dropped a message to me and he said, "Make sure you remind your chatters, people in the chat, that he did give a Brentford 3-2 prediction. So he was right, and I have promised him that I would remind people of. Matt did say it was 3-2. However, I thought Johan Wisa was rubbish today. I thought Johan Wisa was absolutely rubbish today. I'm sorry. Whether he's fit or not, he does not work hard enough on the pitch. I don't mind if you're not fully match fit, but for 50 minutes, you run yourself into the ground. You give everything to the cause. You run with intensity and press, and you make it difficult for the opposition defenders. I'm sorry, I'm seeing him jogging, right? I'm seeing him jogging into positions. I'm seeing him like doing that, what I call, I've said it for years now, that fake press where you make it look like you're pressing when you're running, but you've got no intention to try to win the ball. It's a fake press. And that's what he does. He does this like little fake press. And he was doing it from like 2 or 3 minutes in. And it's like, come on, man. You've been given the opportunity to play against your old team with the away fans giving you constant stick. You got a chance to put one on your old team. And you're still playing the same way you played in previous games. And you know what highlights it even more so is that in the last 2 or 3 months, he's been playing regular football. Will Asuda's barely kicked a ball and come on and looked miles better than him. But he ran with intensity, he ran with speed, he ran with purpose. Will Asuda was running because he had intent to actually win the ball from the defenders. And actually he made them look worried. He made them look scared. He put pressure on them to play the ball quickly, and then they made mistakes, and we got counters off the back of it. If I'm Johan Wisa, 30-year-old Johan Wisa, I'd be looking at a 22-year-old Will Asuda and going, that's what I need to do. Because I'll be honest with you, we paid a lot of money for him. And yes, the club have protected him by his injury and given him this pre-season. He's been more than 6 weeks now. That's done. He's been playing week in, week out. He should be up to speed now, and he still looks way, way off it. And I'm worried. I'm going to say it, and I might be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm worried that he's kind of used us as a bit of his last payday. Is going, this is his last big deal. He's 30 years old. This is his last big contract.
Can't argue.
And go to this team because they're going to pay me the big bucks to see me out for the rest of my career, and then I go off wherever, goes back to my point. If that is the case, and Eddie Howe needs to be looking at very carefully, Saudi comes calling in the summer because we cannot have this going into next season. And I may be wrong on that statement. I'm putting it out there because it's a thought that ran through my mind watching him tonight. And we can't afford for that. We cannot afford for that. If that is the case in any way, shape, or form, he goes to Saudi for as bigger fee as we possibly can get for him, because we can't see performances like that from him, especially when Will Asuda, being 3 months out, comes in is significantly better. And we all know what we've said about Will Asuda. Play with a little bit of potential, still not quite got it, needs to move on. But when he's coming on and looking the best out of the three, we know we've got problems. And really quickly on, because I knew you just had a quick point, Daz, on Nick Botman. Nick Botman, there's no surprise that when he played in that 10, that he was significantly better. There's 2 games now that I've seen him play that 10 role. Bournemouth in the FA Cup and then tonight. And isn't it weird or isn't it funny that in those 2 games, he's looked the most comfortable, he's had more involvements in the game and actually allowed to be part of the build-up play when playing in that position. I think Eddie Howe went for broke tonight. I think Eddie Howe went for desperation by putting Nick Woltemade in that 10. But I think he should be thinking tonight, maybe that's the way to go. Because for me, that's the only way that Nick Woltemade is a success at Newcastle United, playing right where he was. And maybe Eddie Howe needs to take a hard look at himself and go, maybe this 4-3-3 doesn't work anymore. Maybe we need to play somewhere different, in a different style, in a different way, in order for Newcastle United to be successful. And maybe he needs to have a look at himself and make that decision. Because Nick Woltemade is not a 9, and he'll never be a 9. He rebuilt Isak into a 9. He will not rebuild Nick Woltemade into a 9. Because I don't think he can play a 9. But equally, I don't think he wants to play a 9. I think he wants to play just behind in that pocket. So I think
he's more time. He's more time and like allows him to use his skill to get out tricks and set something else up. So that's it's just
it allows him to run.
How can you not see it?
How many times do we see Nick Woltemade running at the defense when he's playing up front? Everything's back to goal. He clearly can't play. He's weak back to goal. He's been getting the ball nicked off him all the time. He can't hold it up. He's struggling. We've talked about it on previous shows.
Doesn't win it in the air.
He doesn't. He had one header tonight that he actually won when he didn't want to. He put his head down and actually headed the ball. That was late. That was about, I think.
It was later on. Yeah, it was later on.
In 80 minutes. Can't remember when. There was one ball that was lumped up long, and he goes and runs into position, and he ducks and actually heads the ball perfectly down. He doesn't want. He's not a target man. He's not a target man. We're playing him that way. Whereas tonight, there was at least 7 or 8 occasions where he got the ball, was able to turn in those little pockets. Malik Chow found him with a beautiful ball cutting pass into the middle of the pitch, and he brings it down, and all of a sudden, bang, 1-2 connections, and we create a chance off the back of it. And he's able to turn and face the defenders and run at them and be able to open up the play. That is Nick Woltemade. That's what we signed. Play him to his strengths. Otherwise, you're not going to see him, and you might as well move him on, which is what I said in the last show. It's one or the other. He either changes his style, Eddie Howe, or he sells him. One or the other, because the way it is right now doesn't work. But so it was almost like it was a 4-2-3-1 that we played in that second half.
That's what it should be.
And it was obvious that tactic, that style was brought in when Nick Woltemade come on, and that was when we were most productive. That tells me everything I need to know.
Daz, Tony Timebridge asks us, it can't go on like this, can it?
It can.
It can.
Next 4 away, it absolutely can. It can. But yeah, we definitely need, in all seriousness, we definitely.
Tony teed that up though, didn't he? That was his plan,
did.
Yeah.
That's the best assist of the night. That.
Yeah. Look at
Yeah.
Nick the ball out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, Mr. Linkfield highlighting something that we were talking about earlier. Howe was still in the dressing room apparently after the game. He has a bit of a lock-in, probably given that I'm leaving to the players. But it was interesting, Pete, off the back of what you said there, in terms of Eddie Howe coming out and apparently saying, I need to take a look at myself. I need to, reflect, and I'm not doing well enough. I'm not doing what I need to do. And absolutely, I think it's stating the obvious, but he does need to reflect, because something isn't working at the moment. And the point that you made there about all the subs, it did very much to me. I was feeling it myself, mate, and we haven't spoke about this. It felt like it was Last Chance Saloon, and it was like, let's just lash everyone on and see what we can do. Because at one point, I think I put it in the chat to you boys, I saw Tonali at left back, I saw Kieran Trippier at right wing, I saw Woltemade in like the 8, I saw Anthony Elanga through the middle, and I'm thinking, what's going on here? What are we actually doing? And I'm thinking, if I'm confused, imagine the players. I mean, and we saw a couple of times, I don't know if you noticed, the players having discussions with each other as if to go, what, no, you go there, or no, you need to go there. And then Jacob Ramsey comes on the pitch and it zooms in on him, and Jacob Ramsey was like, where am I meant to be? Like, what am I doing here? And this is the problem. This you could tell it was just chaotic, and people in the chat have been saying it. It was just chaotic. No one really knew what was going on.
You remember West Ham, Brentford away, both those games?
Oh, yes.
Same thing happened again. It was like go for broke, threw loads of players on, everyone's all over the place, don't know what they're doing. We end up just conceding loads of chances and goals off the back of it. It's like there's no structure to it. It's no like, right, okay, we need to play in a different way. He did when he changed it. When he put Nick Voldemort in it was almost in the 10, we saw up top, and then eventually Asula, which worked better because Asula actually goes in his more direct towards goal with pace. It opened up the play, but then when he made the other subs on top of that, it just threw it off again. It was just a bit all over the place. There was just no structure to the game, and players don't know what they're doing. But you're absolutely right. It is a case of go for broke, but what he did do in the initial subs that he made is stumble on something that fans have been calling out for a long time. Play Nick Voldemort in the 10 where he can get on the ball and be facing goal so he can use his ability. When people were watching the highlight reels of Nick Voldemort, they were looking at that Messi-like run where he was running from sort of 60 yards to the goal and taking on players and scoring and taking and creating chances. There was one chance where he ran into the box and everyone's screaming for him to shoot.
Hit it.
Yeah, he just doesn't hit it early enough. But that's because he hasn't had repetition. He's been playing with back to goal constantly. He hasn't had repetition of making that run. If he's playing in that position constantly, he'll get opportunities where he's able to make that run into the box, and he'll learn to take that shot earlier. You can tell his reaction afterwards. He's almost like, why didn't I shoot? And it's like he needs repetition, but he needs to play that role consistently. Like it for me, it works. It absolutely works. It puts more pressure on Bruno and Tonali in that midfield too, and it maybe pushes Joe Linton out as a guaranteed starter because he's not a central midfielder in a 2. It might ask some questions of other players, but actually, ultimately, what it does do is it makes the fundamentals of our team work better. We look more of an attacking threat. It plays to our new signings effectively, or to their strengths, and it allows us to become a better team. We were the most creative in that period of time when that formation was the way it was. With Asula, particularly with that period of time when Asula's up top with Nick behind him, we were the most creative and the most dangerous during that period of time. I haven't seen us be that dangerous probably since the Leeds game, and that was very gung-ho as well. But and Brentford are a better team.
Yeah, I've noticed we've had quite a few super chats in, boys, here. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
let's
go
go.
those. I am gonna. Yeah, we keep getting more super chats. Everyone has been absolutely so generous with the super chats tonight. Thank you, everybody, for sending those in. Right, let's see. Johnny J. Thank you very much, Johnny J. Paul Mitchell is right, and this summer has shown how bad our team strategy has been with Eddie's involvement. So I think Johnny J is referring to the summer window and who we signed.
Some truth in that for sure.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, we were quite staunch defenders of Eddie, weren't we, in terms of the transfer window. But obviously Paul Mitchell and Eddie Howe butted heads a little bit, didn't they? But yeah, I mean, obviously the summer recruitment hasn't looked the best. Let's be honest. There's a number of question marks around a good few of those players. I think that is fair to say. NJ the Magpie Gamer, cool name. Thank you very much, NJ, the Magpie Gamer. He says, let those players go if they no longer believe in the project. I think he's referring to the likes of Tonali, Gordon, etc. We will restart. We can't be playing same old shite all the time. I'm pissed. Mate, we hear you. We're all really, really upset after tonight, after the season. I think it's fair to say. Daz,
we'll just have to get some values for some of the players there because we're going to need to cover our PSR tracks as well. But yeah, I'm on for half a rebuild come the summer, the way things are going, and maybe with the new manager as well, if not before then.
Yeah, interesting. Andy H. He's flipped after tonight. He says maybe it's because shit's getting real, but I've changed my mind. I'm Eddie in. He looked gutted at full time. He's bled black and white for us. The club and senior players have let him and us down. And do you know what, Andy? I think that's a fair point in the sense that, you know, a lot of questions are being asked of Eddie Howe, and rightly so. He's paid to be the manager of this football club, and, you know, the formation, the tactics, the player selection, it's all on his head. But I get what you mean in terms of backing him. But I have to say, Andy, and I'm going to come to the boys in a second, this is now on Eddie Howe. So Eddie Howe has come out tonight, if you haven't heard already, and, you know, said that he needs to look at himself. He hasn't been doing good enough, etc. Eddie Howe, if that's the case and the players are letting him down and they're not following through with instructions that, you know, clearly he's been working on in training and whatnot, then something needs to happen. There needs to be a change. But Pete, what are your thoughts on what Andy said there?
Well, first of all, it is getting real. It absolutely is getting real. This is a worrying situation for Newcastle United, isn't it? As I said previous weeks, it's going to get worse before it gets better. With 4 away games to come, there's no guarantee that we'll win any of them, including Carabao. There's no guarantee, and it is getting real. What I will say is that he should be gutted at full time. That was an embarrassing performance from Newcastle United, from his players, where he chooses those players. He puts those players out. He chooses the formation and the style. And it's been very clear that the system has been broken. The 4-3-3, as I said a couple of weeks ago, has been found out by opposition teams. They know how to play against us. They know how to play against us. And it's becoming all too familiar. And so he needs to take a hard look at himself, and he needs to ask himself some serious questions about how he moves forward with Newcastle United for the rest of this season. Talking about formation, talking about personnel, etc. But absolutely, the club have let him down. As I mentioned to you in the last show, lads, he's had 1 transfer window out of the last 5 where he's actually signed a first-team player. That in itself is unacceptable, and the board and the club and the owners have let him down by not supplying him with what he needs to be successful. But you could also argue, and it goes back to the previous point, the previous super chat with regards to Paul Mitchell, Grant Mitchell, whatever you want to call him, Mitchell. With his point of the transfers not being fit for purpose. You can, as much as we argue what Mitchell said, and that it came about that he was the problem and got rid of, it's actually come to fruition last summer because the signings weren't fit for purpose. The business that was done last summer, was not good. Now there's a question mark there about, and I think it's a genuine one, that if we are going to go into the summer and Eddie Howe is going to stay at Newcastle United, Ross Wilson needs to take control of these transfers. Yeah. There's a big argument there to say that Eddie Howe, yes, should have an important say. He's the manager. He should be able to sign off some of these players, but maybe not as much of a say as he's had in previous windows. And maybe that's already the case. Maybe that's what Ross Wilson, and I hope that's what Ross Wilson's doing, is putting different players of a different skill set in front of Eddie Howe and saying, this is what the team needs. So for me, I think there's questions all round that need to be sort of asked on that. And I do think Eddie Howe needs to take the L on a few of those things too, because he's the manager and he's responsible. And regardless of what we feel about Eddie Howe, we all love Eddie Howe on here as the 3 of us. We've always talked about him quite positively. None so, like, more so me. But there comes a time where you're looking at the situation and things have to be better. And he has to know that.
You still with us, Chris?
Well, I can see you, but I can't see Pete.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You reckon he? Yeah, but can you see me? I'm waving my arms.
Oh, yeah, he's here. He's here. Yeah. He's back. He's back. It just started spinning.
He never left.
I don't know why.
I never left. I was always here.
Yeah. To be fair, yeah, that's true. That is true. You left on my screen, but you hadn't left. I wanted to, like, boys. I just wanted to bring this one back up from Benny Boy, and I wanted to have a brief thing on this. I've got to go in a couple of minutes. I do apologise, but Benny Boy said, and this is the one. I think this is the one from earlier. Benny Boy said, "Do you think the lads were fatigued due to Hal's mismanagement by not resting players versus Man City and not playing the kids in the game?" Do you know what? I get where Benny Boy's coming from, but for me, I don't want to hear any more this season about, I think the lads are tired. Oh, do you know what? I think they're struggling. I think that, I think there's been too many games and we're struggling to manage it. And it's like, well, first of all, if that's the case, why have we not made any signings in January? Why have we not beefed up this squad? And secondly, I look across the Premier League and I'm thinking other clubs are dealing with this just fine. Well, I say just fine. It's been a bit of a strange season, and clubs have struggled to kind of maintain that consistency. But there's clubs out there who are doing far better than what we are, and then it also, for the third point, if that's the case, which Benny Boy says here, about playing the kids, it's like, well, why aren't we rotating the squad? Why aren't we trusting some of these players? Leo Shahar was mentioned earlier. Sean Neve was mentioned earlier. I'm not suggesting let's go and get 11 lads from the academy and just plop them in the first team. I'm not suggesting that. But there must be an occasion where you can play 1, 2, possibly 3 young players and give people a rest. Just rotate the squad. If the squads are struggling or individuals are struggling, rotate the players. And yes, afterwards, if we don't get the result, people might go, "Oh, he shouldn't have played him, or he shouldn't have rested him, etc., etc." But we can't just keep. We've been saying this now for 5 years about the players being fatigued and the players being tired, and we're not able to rotate and stuff. I just think that I'm not saying this directly at you, Benny Boy, but I just think that is a narrative that we need to stop using in general. Because I see other clubs managing things far better than what we do. And I wouldn't mind, if this was Newcastle of 2 years ago, when we were pressing ourselves into the grounds, I might have that. But we're not. I can't see why the players would be tired after watching that tonight. Because I didn't see, lung-busting runs. I didn't see constant press. I didn't see constant closing down. So we play again on Tuesday. I don't see how these players can be tired, but that's my opinion on it. But Daz, what are you thinking about Benny Boy's comments there, and in general about this fatigue that we keep talking about this season?
I think he could manage the squads better, and be utilize some of the youth, integrate. Not again like you, not all in together, but to give youth a chance here, and more of them should be drip fed into the team. At the same time, though, he's trying to go on all fronts, and he wants to try and play the best team he believes possible on every occasion. And then, with the whole thing about James Bunce, bringing him in as well was going to help in managing that. And last year it did. And then if we don't have enough players, why are we not strengthening in January when we have a window, we have money? And there's a loan market. There's loads of different things. It's just, especially when things are getting as bad as they are now for them. So you're kind of your own worst enemy there when you're not utilizing everything that's available to you.
Yeah, boys, I'm gonna have to drop off. But Pete, I'm gonna pass this over to you. But I'll wish you good night.
Tom, Chris.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and look forward to seeing you soon. Pete, I can't wait to see you on Tuesday, mate.
Yes. But we cannot wait. We can see what we're about to see on Tuesday.
I can wait for that. Yeah. Definitely. Boys, take care. All the best.
See you later. We just got another super chat in as well. But just to answer this question, this is what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks with regards to this fatigue and mismanagement of players. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. And if we are using this as an excuse still, which Eddie Howe has recently, like this, it's ridiculous. because we had this 2 years ago. So what we're saying is, and what Eddie Howe is effectively saying, if he's using this as an excuse, he's basically saying that he hasn't learned his lesson. The club haven't learned their lesson because they saw this happen 2 years ago, and that we couldn't manage players, and players were going to the well week in, week out, every 2 or 3 days. And we had a chance to put that right, and we didn't. We also had a chance to put it right in January, and we didn't. So the club hasn't learned its lesson, and we're still making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And my point that I made just over a week ago about the same exact topic that the super chat was, is that how is it that Aston Villa, who are in exactly the same boat as us, have been able to manage that for the nearly last 3 years? They've played back-to-back-to-back European competitions, one including being the Champions League, and that they've been able to manage it. They got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and they took us to the last day of the season and probably should have beat Man United and should have got Champions League football, and they were able to manage it. So why can't we? And as well, let's not forget, they got to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. So they went deep into 3 competitions: the Premier League on the last day, quarterfinals of the Champions League, and semi-finals of the FA Cup. And they were able to manage their squad. And their squad was no bigger or smaller than ours. It was the same. So if Eddie Howe is using that excuse, and the club is still using that excuse of not being able to get on the training ground, not players not being up to maximum performance, that is clearly an Eddie Howe and a club problem. And that is a massive issue, because Newcastle United, and I've said this before, Newcastle United should be able to manage 3 games a week. If we want to be the club that we want to be, if David Hopkinson, and there's been comments today, these comments, by the way, are gonna come back to haunt us, because already Sky are quoting his comments that he said on TalkSport about 2030, right? It was the wrong time, the worst possible time to make those quotes.
100%.
And now it's coming back to kickers in the backside because of performances like this. And you've already got Sky going, 2030, look where they are in the league, the 12th.
It looks stupid.
It absolutely does. It looks ridiculous that he's made these comments. But going back to the point, is if Villa can do it, for example, and all these other clubs are able to do it, why can't we? And it's going to put more pressure back on Eddie Howe and put more pressure back on the club, because they should be providing a team that can manage this. We brought James Bunce in to manage situations. Why has nobody gone in January? You know what? We need to bolster this squad to make sure we can get through to the end of the season. Why? And it's negligence. And I've said it before. It's negligence by the club, negligence by the manager. They're all responsible here because they had an opportunity to put it right and they chose not to. It is not good enough. It is absolutely not good enough. They have wiped their hands with this season effectively. And it sounds mad to say, because we're still in the Champions League, the FA Cup and the Premier League. We've still got a chance of getting some form of European football, although that's dwindling by the day. But very quickly, in the next 4 to 5 weeks, it could be a very different story. And we're looking down the barrel of the gun of just Premier League football. But our form is so bad, we could be completely adrift of getting any European football. And then what was the semi-final for? What was the FA Cup 4th round for? What was getting to the knockout stage of the Champions League for? Ultimately, it'll be for nothing, because we won't be in Europe next season. And it will all be for nothing. And that's the biggest issue. We're letting ourselves go. We've wiped our hands with the season. And the club and the manager and the players are going to have to hold it, because it's down to them for why we're here.
Let's go to a few more comments. Has gifted five loaded ultra memberships to the chatter. So cheers very much for that, Waza, and congratulations to everyone that got that. We must do a loaded giveaway as well. Say that to Chris. This one from CrowFox24. what's on the text here, but I think one of the words might be a mistake. Because it's a very bad day for the Toon. Maybe it should be time for Newcastle to, he says, back the manager, but I think he means sack the manager, because he says move him on. Eddie must be sick of the shite he's watching. It's either contradictory in the question or the comment, but I think what you're saying is it might be time for to sack the manager. Correct us if you're wrong, if I'm wrong there, Cole. Fox. What do you think, Pete?
Whether it's time to, well, let's see what he's made of first. This is the first major, significant rut that Newcastle United have been in the last 4 years. Let's see what he's made of. Can he get us out of this rut? Can he show us a different way? Can he show us something different? Can he put a different formation in, like we just talked about with both me and you have mentioned about the Nick Baltimore in the 10? Can he show us something different? Can he put a different tactic together? Tuesday's massive. What are we going to see? Are we going to see more of the same? 4-3-3, same performance, limp performance, end up losing to a team that are also shy, that are below us in the Premier League? Or is he going to show us something different? Are we going to get a reaction? Are we going to get something different that's going to ask Spurs a different question on Tuesday night? Let's see what he's made of. The easy thing now would be to say, yeah, not up to it, off you pop, and giving me his payout. But actually, no. Go show us something different. Go and get these players back playing the way they've been playing for you previously. Show us your bottle, Eddie Howe. Show us what you've got as a manager. That's what I would say. And not just him, I'd be showing the players. These players want Champions League football. They feel like they've got a divine right to play Champions League football. They think they're just going to leave this team if we don't achieve it. Nah, go prove it. Go prove that you're capable of, firstly, before we even get to Champions League football, which is way gone, by the way, go show us that you can actually go win matches, first and foremost. Even before that, go show us that you can put performances in. Show us that you can
score a goal.
Score a goal. I mean, we scored 2 tonight, but yeah, go show us that you can be a fluid footballing team.
Yeah.
Put in a good performance, first and foremost. Then maybe win a match. Then put back-to-back winning matches again. Show us that first, and then maybe demand Champions League football. In one of the super chats we talked about previously, me and Fumbi had a back and forth about I think it was the what was it? It was about the players wanting to be moved on. And me and Fumbi had a back and forward today, in fact, this afternoon, with regards to Sandro Tonali. It'd be interesting to know what you think, Daz, and people in the chat think. So me and Fumbi were, because we'll talk about Sandro Tonali, and Fumbi's very much of the mindset, sell him. Get rid of him. If you don't want to be here, he's already moving his agent to get him a move elsewhere, move him on. Just make sure we get the money. And I'm like, okay, I'm with that. But equally, there's a part of me that's going, hold on. We let Isak get away with it and get his move. We need to hold on as a club and regain some power and go, actually, no, you're going to stay. You're going to stay, and you're going to know that if you want to play Champions League football, you need to achieve it with Newcastle United. So they were the two arguments. I'm a bit unsure where I'm at now, because I was of the argument that Newcastle should go, no, you need to stay. We need to regain that power back. But watching this performance tonight, I'm starting to think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Fumbi's right. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Daz?
Well, you know that I have a soft spot for Sandro Tonali, because our very first fully loaded transfer show, well, I was the first person to ever mention him in black and white in a Newcastle colours. But 2 years later, it actually happened. But what's been coming out with the agent and stuff like that, this seems to point towards a decision point come March, right? So if he wants to stay with us, he has to come out and he has to come out publicly and say he wants to shut down the rumors himself, not his agent. He needs to come out and say, do an interview with someone like Keith Downey or someone that he wants to stay with Newcastle. Then that shuts that down. If he doesn't, then it's we can't allow this to rumble into the summer and take over our summer again. And we want to keep him. He wants to go, and it'll get to a situation again. If he wants to go and just he needs to lay it on the line, and we need to get top dollar for him because he's under contract for so long with us, and we think we have a year option on him on top of that as well. So ultimately, if he wants to go, he needs to go, because we cannot get into the situation. No one player is bigger than the club, and not any of them. And that goes across the board. We have to learn our lessons from the whole Isak situation of the summer and move on. I don't want him to go. I want him to get him back to what we had last year, but who knows what's going on in that man's head at this moment in time.
Yeah. No, I agree with a lot of what you said, and there's a lot of people in the chat that I think Sophie mentioned that she kind of agrees with on both sides of things. Bayshuk's put on here Tonali isn't doing enough to keep him anyway, and that's the thing. I think that there's lots of arguments either side. Sophie's put this one on here. I kind of agree with both. You got Michael that's put won't work though. Peak players have too much power. He will just play shit and then we can't make a profit. So there's lots of arguments either side. It's an interesting discussion, but yeah, I'll be honest. I was very much of the we need to keep him. I'm torn now. I really am. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes with players, they've just finished their stint at a club. And they just might we need to move on. And if it's anything like he needs to, he wants to go back home, whatever this, that, and the other, as long as we get a good deal, then maybe it's best for all parties, because we can't keep seeing performances like this from a top player.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go to there's two more super chats. I want to keep one towards the end from Peter, but this one is coming from the Magpie Gamer, and he says, in my honest opinion, 2030 project is achievable. We just need an overhaul in the summer. 1 step backwards, 5 steps forwards. Away the lads, says Magpie Gamer.
It could well be, Magpie Gamer. It could well be achievable. But as I said, the lads on our previous show the other night, the timing of it is wrong. It is wrong. And for anyone, we've got over 1,000 people watching us right now. For anyone that missed the show that we had the other night, I mentioned that it was completely wrong and the wrong timing that David Hopkinson had this conversation with TalkSport. This should have been had in the summer when we got a new shirt sponsor, new training ground sponsor, and we've just put multiple sponsorships down and we're spending money in the transfer market and everything's looking up. And then he goes, bang. 2030 project, this is what it looks like. This is what we're doing, and this is the start of it. People can get behind that. Not whilst we're playing dross football and we're in the worst possible position that we're in. And someone put in the comments on the back of that show, maybe it was a way of kind of rallying the troops and to boost morale. Maybe it was. Maybe that was part of the thinking, but it was the wrong thinking, in my opinion, because there was no boosting of morale, giving a 5-year timeline that people are now looking at, where we're 12th and 11th in the table going, that don't look achievable. And Newcastle fans are not in a good place right now because we're losing matches constantly. We've now lost 4 of our last 5 in all competitions. And they're going, well, that's nonsense. Look at what we're doing at the moment on the pitch. It's wrong, completely wrong. It could be achievable, but we need to see examples of that. First and foremost, where is this damn training ground that we were told by Craig Hope that was very close to being agreed? That needs to be announced before the end of the season. Sponsorships need to be done. We need to see that the revenue is growing and that things are getting bigger. Not just putting ticket prices up. I want to see proper revenue streams. Proper revenue streams where we see the club is going in the right direction. Where is our maximising every nook and cranny, every corner, every inch of possibility for revenue? Where and how are we maximizing this? Because I don't see it. I see we've made massive improvements. Of course we have. It wasn't hard from the starting that we had, but we've made massive improvements. We're now the best outside of the top 6 in terms of revenue, but we're still nowhere near them. We're still not touching distance. He needs to bolt the horse properly if we're going to get anywhere near that 2030 target. And remember, he didn't say we were going to win anything by 2030, but he said we were going to be competing in all of these competitions. Well, even competing right now is a long shot with what we're seeing right now. So things have to change quickly, Daz, don't they? Really?
Yeah, he did seem to indicate that we're going to be like up there fighting for these like for the Premier League, for the Champions League. That's what he's indicating about 30. And just linking back to it, I think the only way that's possible is if the Super League comes back again, and we're being thrown in as part of it. That's the only way we could bypass the whole Premier League and financial regulation. I'm not saying that's what we want to do. I'm saying that's the only way I could see that you could, in that space of time, because then we'd be free to do whatever the hell we wanted. But that's an argument for another time. Right, I'm going to go to this one from Peter. He asks, he was asking us all about honest answer from all of you. Do you think Eddie Howe will be the manager for the first game of next season? I know there was another one that said question about would he be manager by the end of February from Magpies United, because he didn't think he was. But let's say the start of next season, will Eddie Howe be our manager? Pete, your thoughts there?
Right now, I'll probably say yes, just. Yes, just. Whether people want that or not is a different answer. But I think yes, at this moment, just he'll be manager. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. What about you, Dan?
I'm going to say the opposite, because I think it's even though I didn't see him after the game, but just look on his face from the still images, I think it's getting to him now. I think there have to be everyone to sit down and look at things and assess the season. He gets to the end of the season, but I think they have to look back and see what direction are we going in here. It does seem that they are all aligned, as is in like they're happy with the CEO. They're happy with Ross Wilson, and them two are happy with Eddie Howe. But the way this is going now, the direction is going in, can't win away from home, losing at home, can't get things clicking at all. It's not looking good for Eddie Howe. So that's why I think it'll all come to a head. And for me, I think he will. I think he could be gone in the summer. But he deserves a lot of respect for what he's done for us and getting us our first trophy in 70 years, and in challenging times as well. But I think it's ridiculous that they didn't go and spend in this transfer window in January to give him a chance. It's kind of thrown him under the bus a bit. I don't know. That's the way I'm thinking now. Sorry, Pete.
No, I was going to say, like, you think he'll walk away or be sacked?
I don't think it'll be a sacking situation. I think it'll be a gentleman's agreement kind of thing.
This is the thing, because I don't think he gets sacked by the club. I think if anything, he either takes the England job if it gets offered to him. If we keep putting performances like this, it will ruin his chances of getting England too. But it'll either be England that will do this, or he'll walk away. But this is for me though, I feel a certain way about it. Like if he does walk away after this, because this is the first sign of turbulence, and he walks. Like he's had mini turbulence, like 2 years ago when we were having injuries and stuff, and the noises were started to rumble from that point. But like this is his first proper period of turbulence. This season or this certain last chunk of fixtures, and this is the thing. Like for those that are still kind of want Eddie to be successful, that I think most people want him to be able to turn it around and be better. But because he's just continuing to do the same thing, I think he's just losing hope from the fan base, because he just keeps doing the same thing. And this is the point that I wanted to make, is like, with Eddie Howe, it's like, okay, he might look dejected and down because the team aren't playing well, but this is the manager. Show us something different. Show us that you have the capabilities of getting us out of this mess. Because if I continue to see the same for the rest of the season, and I feel like we're going to see that, and he doesn't change the style, and he doesn't change up the formation, he doesn't offer us something different, then yeah, maybe it is time for a change. Because we can't have this going into next season. But ultimately, I'm looking at this and I'm going, hold on a second. You're the manager here. Give us something different. It's clear that what your sort of ideology of management, 4-3-3, high intensity, blah, 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 isn't working for this set of players right now. So show us something different. You're a good coach. You like to coach players. Coach them in a different way, or coach them a different formation or a different style. And you can't keep using this excuse that, we haven't got time on the training ground, etc., etc. Like, there's a style there that can work. Find the way. Otherwise, he will lose his job. Like, so I'm more intrigued to see what he's got about him, as a manager. What have you got for us, Eddie Howe? Show us something different to get these players playing. Because what he's doing right now isn't working. And that's obvious.
Yeah, no, we'd all love that if he can turn this around, but I don't know. I don't think he can. Right, look, we're going to stop with the questions because we could be go all night because there's a million questions. But thanks to everyone that did send the question in and all the super chats, and for your time and watching. Another disappointing night for Newcastle. And on to Tuesday, where we play Spurs away from home. Yeah, let's see.
Just before we go, if it wasn't bad enough, Craig hopes to tweet that and said, it sounds like Miley and Gordon will be missing again on Tuesday. So we'll be going with the same players as we did. Happy days.
But Payles, as we said, like a tactical change there. We know that at any time we play away from home, we lose. Why not try something different again? It has worked us for a few times in the past. We have tried something different. Forget the 4-3-3. We need something different. Right. We'll play out with Tune for our captain. Great to see him back and getting on the score sheet. See you on the next one. Thanks for sticking with us. Good night.
Sooner or later in life, the things you love, you lose. But you've got the love I need to see me through. You got the love, you got the love, you got